So from the plant-based games, how do you fuel correctly on a plant-based diet?
Oh, good question. Big question. Look, the principles don't change whether you're plant-based or whether you're, you eat meat or you're pescatarian or whatever. The how to fuel massively depends on what type of training you're doing. So let's say we're doing, CrossFit, then, you need to be focusing on eating enough going into your workout. So naturally a plant-based diet is slightly higher in carbohydrates. So number one thing, you're already kind of ticking that box. And then making sure that you have a good source of protein around your workouts. Lots of really good vegan protein sources at the moment, protein shakes as well. For me, you need to make sure that the pre-workout period, you maybe want to slightly lower the fiber content. So like, a plant-based diet, vegan diet is slightly higher in fiber. So maybe you want to kind of miss the broccolis and cauliflowers and big kind of, voluminous foods, and actually maybe use something that's a little bit easier to digest. So maybe kind of choosing like, rice, or maybe if you're going to have veggies like tomatoes, spinach, beetroot, stuff like this, that's slightly easier to digest, because we don't want a load of fiber or slow digestion going into a workout. So fueling would be like protein and carbs pre-workout, protein and carbs post-workout, but easy to digest sources. And then away from your workout, that's when you can kind of really load up on, your more fiber stuff and a little bit more fat. And hopefully then that's going to give you a bit of structure to kind of fuel your workout, refuel your workout, and then help your recovery.
So from an anonymous, I've come off the wagon again. How do I find consistency in my eating and nutrition?
I would say you need to, if you come off the wagon again, it sounds like you need a little bit of accountability. You need to maybe work with someone or get into a group, either with your friends or someone at the gym or whoever it is, rather than trying to do it yourself. Like, it's so much better when you're in a group or you're holding yourself accountable, working towards something. That would be my number one thing. Then I would say, like, set smaller goals. Sometimes when people come off the wagon, they think that I'm off the wagon because I was so on plan, like I'm 100%, and then I've got to get back on it. Like, don't necessarily put yourself on and off the wagon. Like, just try to make a smaller goals. And if you do have a little bump in the road, then make sure you get back on straight away. Like I said, doesn't need to be a cheat day, it needs to be a cheat meal, and then making sure that next day you're back on plan. Okay, so group coaching, maybe work with someone, and making smaller goals would be how I would approach that.
So from @Helen Milan, have you any life hacks for healthy alternatives to snacks?
Healthy alternatives to snacks.
To snacking.
To snack in. Yeah, eat a little bit more in the meal before you snack. Like, eat a bit more protein, a little bit more veg, then it's going to reduce your cravings normally, because a lot of the time we see people like eat, a meal deal for lunch, and it's like 200 calorie rubbish, crappy sandwich with no nutrients, and a bottle of Coke. And then they're out and hungry, like later on in the afternoon, they wonder why they want to reach for the M&S Rocky Roads. Whereas if you eat like a more of a voluminous meal, then it's going to reduce your cravings. You're going to be more in control, and then focus on snacks to be whole food. Snacks don't have to be snacks food. Like, they can be whole foods. So, trying to maybe think about having like half of a wrap, for a thing, having fruit and having, rice cakes, or make a batch of pancakes, or have a yogurt or something like this. Like, don't think snacks need to just be a bar or a packet of crisps or something like that. Making it more whole food is going to make you feel more satiated, and going to give you a little bit more chance to chuck a few more nutrients in there as well.
From @ms88_36, great Twitter name. What supplements should I be incorporating into my diet as standard?
Like, supplementation is very much individualized. However, this time of year, I think vitamin D is really a sensible thing for most people to be taking, just for the health benefits, as well as, like, we're not getting much sunlight. So that would be number one thing that I would say, definitely get that in. And look, from the blood testing I've done thousands of blood tests. Something that consistently comes up is omega ratio. So I would like the imbalance in terms of your omega-6 and omega-3s. So I would say that most people can benefit from taking an omega-3 supplement. It's very challenging to get enough from your diet, and our environment, our food choices, the amount of training that we do just does create an environment where we're maybe a little bit more inflamed, and actually having an omega-3 would be something that'd be very beneficial. So those two, I'd probably say are the number one, number two things I'd add in. Other than that, I'm not going to put my head on the chopping block and say, like, you need this and this, and then everyone goes, oh, he told me to take that. Like, he's just pushing that because whatever. Like, no. If you want to know, you can get some blood testing done. But those two, I would say that you can add in.
At Megshra, how do I eat for performance as a vegetarian?
Again, like, look, just because you're following a specific diet doesn't mean that you need to change what you're doing. Like, performance nutrition is performance nutrition. The principles don't change. Like, eating for performance means fueling workouts and eating enough to fuel for the work required. Now, performance nutrition, I think a lot of people can think it's just like, oh, what do I eat? What shiny tub am I taking pre-workout, or am I chugging a shake post-workout? Now, eating for performance means eating enough consistently across the day of the right balance of micro and macronutrients. Now, just because you're vegetarian doesn't mean that you need to change it. Like, eating performance for a vegetarian would be like consistent meal structure, making sure that you're fueling going into workouts, feeling good, rather than just restricting going into it and then loading up post-workout. That would be a really big thing, and it's something that I keep hammering home on our social media to people, to be like, pre-workout, if you want it to perform well, is for me a lot more important than post-workout nutrition. So, if you're eating performance, look at your pre-workout nutrition, look at your overall intake, and then I would say, like, you probably, depending on what type of exercise you're doing, then maybe just look at your carbohydrate intake, and is it adequate to fuel the amount of volume and intensity that you're doing in your sessions.
Awesome. At Sophie Freeman, any tips for managing food prep in a busy lifestyle?
Oh, do you know what, Sophie? I'm just finishing up our meal prep program for the hub. So I've
Amazing.
been knee deep in this. So yeah, busy times. Like, look, get a slow cooker. That's number one. I love a slow cooker. And then the other thing is to thinking about, we have a method called component cooking. So rather than having to cook loads of different recipes, you just kind of prep individual components. So cook a load of protein, cook a load of carbs, or separate it, and then you could just build meals really quickly. And then just think about that you don't have to cook everything. You can buy pre-cooked rice, you can buy pre-cooked chicken, pre-cooked fish, tuna. You can do these really simple hacks of building no-cook meals, and rather than thinking that you have to prep every single thing. Okay, like, you need a mixture of like a batch cook, a no cook, and a quick cook. Okay, that's how you should approach things. So, if we're looking at a batch cook, you could do a big chili. If you're doing a quick cook, you could do a stir fry. If you're doing a no cook, you can make a chicken wrap when you bought a chicken, and peppers and spinach and tomatoes. Shred it all, wrap it up, and then you're done. Or a yogurt bowl for breakfast. Like, you don't need to cook that, so it can be assembled. So as long as you have an option for each one, or a couple of options for each one, then you're pretty good, rather than thinking everything needs to be batch cooked and you need to spend 7 hours on a Sunday cooking every single meal. No, you don't. You need to have different levels. So I hope that helps.
Shroff88, how important is protein, and can you have too much?
Protein is very important. So again, I think I spoke about this on the podcast, is you need to keep protein relatively consistent across your day, across your week, and that goes for fat loss and strength. Okay, it should be something that you consistently eat. Your overall intake needs to be consistent, but also in each meal, make sure it's distributed across your day. So rather than just like, low in breakfast, low in lunch, low in snacks, and a big bolus dose in the evening, like, try to distribute it a little more evenly. You can't. I don't think necessarily you can eat too much. Like, your body will just excrete it. It's very hard to overeat protein. It's quite satiating macronutrient. There's been studies shown that as you get up to the higher amounts, talking maybe kind of 3-4 kilos per 3-4 grams per kilo per body weight, there's not really any kind of further benefit. So you might want to just kind of cap it around 2 grams, 2.4 grams, and maybe as an upper limit, depending on your goal. So yeah, hopefully use those tips. And then I think your body will tell you if you're eating too much protein. It's quite hard to do. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
Are there things we can be eating to boost immune systems given the current climate?
100%. Like you can, take a bit. Like I said, vitamin D is a really good thing to be taken to help support immune function. Zinc as well. This is a really important nutrient for immune system. So you can derive zinc from foods. Vitamin D is quite challenging to get from food, so I definitely say supplement, especially at this time. And then, there's so much about immune boosting foods, like ginger or turmeric or whatever it is. But to be honest, like the number one thing is the color on your plate. Like try to eat a colorful plate of food consistently. So we have something, we do with our clients, 5-color challenge, where you've got to eat 5 colors across the day, 3 colors in each meal. And that is one of the biggest things like that kind of boosts the immune system. So lots of different colors, like dark colored fruits, like berries, different berries, tomatoes, peppers, broccoli, cauliflower. So you got white, green, red, orange, yellow, like blues, purples. That's going to be the biggest thing to boost your immune system, as opposed to coating your meat in turmeric or whatever you want to do. So do that.
If you've not focused on nutrition, where do you start?
Identify your primary goal, look at your current intake, and make small changes to that to work towards whatever goal you set. The quality of food is possibly, where I would say that you can really kind of make a start with. So if you can do that, like that's what I would say most people can benefit from, as opposed to thinking that they need to just go in and start tracking calories and macros and stuff like that. Like, if you can identify your goal, you want to lose fat, gain muscle, be healthier, whatever it is, look at your current intake. Where can I tidy a few things up? Because a lot of people know, like we know that smashing a pizza every night isn't good. We know that if our snack is a Krispy Kreme, it's not that good. So you don't need me to tell you that, and if you're honest with yourself, that's where you can make a change. So if you can just look at your current intake, maybe improve the food quality of it, and that's going to help you to get the kind of like make that kind of snowball and really start to kind of build some progress, rather than thinking I need to go 2 foot in and start tracking every single gram of food that I'm eating.